I'm not worried about what page you have because I'm still going over these things, okay? So everyone chill on the page. So like I was saying, is some of you guys needed to be more specific with your sentences because if you just stated a sentence but didn't tell me more information, normal people wouldn't know what you were talking about. So like if you said about coral, what about coral? The colored coral, coral reefs, the certain type of coral, we need more than that. What? Oh, yeah. Earthquakes come every 200 years. Okay, well, that is true at the certain sun-done megahertz fault line. You had to add that little bit. If you just put earthquakes come every 200 years, that would be a true statement where. Because earthquakes do not happen every 200 years everywhere. It's at that certain spot. So I did made notes on a lot of these. So I'm just going to hand them back to you when I call your name. But I enjoyed reading them over. And most of them I made a few notes on just so you could see. And most of them was just that we needed to be a little bit more specific. Okay? Cool? Yeah. Okay, when I say your name, feel free to come get yours. Phoebe. Isabel. Claire. Abby. Rush. Zoe, Ethan, Alex, John,
thank you.
Eliana.
Are we going to the back for reading the rest of the story?
Oh, we might. Maybe. Eliana, Maddie, Calvin. Hi, Zuri. Alicia, Isaiah. I'll probably hand it to you, child.
Yes, that one.
You're very impatient, you know that?
No.
Yes.
Can I get a snack? Can I have a snack? Rush.
Yeah, but go get it and sit back down. All right. Anyways, we have to finish our story, and this is kind of lost in the page. Oh, here it is. Okay. So, first off, before we even start reading again, let's remember what type of text was this story? Can you go grab my sticks? We're going to be drawing sticks. That way the same people aren't answering all day because Mrs. Kneifel is tired of that shenanigans. So all you better be ready because you could be called at any moment. What's up, Eliana? Nothing? All right, what type of text is this? Number 11. Is that you, Calvin?
Yeah, it's Calvin.
Okay, I'm taking it back. Number 16.
Can you get that for me, please?
What type of text is this story? Thank you.
Realistic?
No.
Not
Well, it is realistic, but yeah, but I need more than that. It is nonfiction. Okay. Someone help him out. Number 17. Do you know what type of story it is? What? Wanna give it a try? It is about earthquakes. That would be a topic of it. Zoe, what type of story is this? And if you don't remember, go back to the prepare to read page where it is literally in bold.
No, I'm on the run story. How do you do one story?
Zoe, read down a little bit. Find the bolded text like I just said a minute ago. I should see every single hand up. We talked about what type of story this was for probably around 15 minutes before we even started the story yesterday. Yeah. I can literally see the answer from here. Informational text. Everyone say it with me. Informational text. And What is the purpose of informational text? Alicia. Okay, I want more than that. Tell what, like, use the, to inform me about something, to teach me about something. This is not trying to persuade me for anything, and it is also not trying to just entertain me. This is trying to teach me something. And let's just review real quick, because apparently we need some review. Apparently we forgot from yesterday and last week, which was also informational text, but that's besides the point. Well, it was informational video, but that's besides the point. So, anyways, remember, informational texts have things like subheadings. They also have diagrams, and they have real facts. And there's those special words within this story that are blank, blank words. Can someone, well, not someone, number 13. Do you remember what those type of words are? Who is number 13? Bree. Blank, blank words. It is something with a C. Phoebe, help her out.
Content area words.
Yes, content area words. That means they're specific to social studies and science. They are not just plain old reading words. All of our words are reading words. It's not what they are about. They have to do with science. They have to do with social studies. And we also had some diagrams yesterday. So now let's do a little bit of review. We started this story. Someone remind me of our time and place. And if you don't remember, you better find it really quick. Number 7. Remind me of the time and place.
It is July 4th.
Where does the story start?
It is in July 2004, a village school in Tello Island, Indonesia.
Yes, so the story started in July 2004 and around Indonesia. And why was it close to Tello Island in Indonesia? What was close by that? Number 20. What is close by that? What is close by Indonesia and Tello Island? Why are they there? Carrie Sai, why is he there? I need you to answer. We're not just going to not answer for the 3rd time today. Why are they at that island? And you might be called on next, so if I were you, I'd be looking. Ethan, we're not doodling. Sir. Pause, sorry. Why are they at this island? They're not just there for fun. They're in Indonesia for a certain reason. Why are we there at Indonesia? It's in paragraph 2. Everyone should be looking in paragraph 2 if you don't already know my answer. Number 2.
They were there because they were storytelling about it.
I need more information than that. Mrs. Kneifel's sad that we apparently did not gain much from yesterday. Pick it up.
I thought she was.
Gabby.
Carrie Sai went there because he predicted that an earthquake was going to happen because Tello Island is 60 miles away from the Sunda Megathrust fault line.
Thank you so much, Gabby. We are at Indonesia because the Sundun Megathrust fault line is really, really close to Tello Island. And Carrie Sai is there to tell people, oh, snap, there's going to be an earthquake. How is he pretty sure, or how was he able to make this prediction? Did he just decide one day, yeah, I'm going to think there's going to be an earthquake? Number 6, How can he make this prediction?
Because of the coral and how it hasn't had an earthquake in 200 years.
Right. Remember, he was able to find a pattern with the earthquake because the way the sand rises and falls with the coral, and then it grows out like what? What did he compare the coral to? Number 5, what did he say it looked like? It looked like a certain thing the way it was growing. Give me a guess, bud. I see it in 2 different spots. A what? I can't hear you.
I think it looks like a little donut.
Yeah, the way it's growing out like a donut. Thank you. So remember, Sai believed there would be an earthquake in the 2000s based off of what he read from the coral. And you cannot read coral like an actual book. Instead, he was looking at the blank of it. I'm pretty sure I already said it, but let's say it again. The blank of the coral, Abby. What's he looking at in the coral? Is he just staring at it and being like, "Yup, it's gonna be a thing"? He's looking at a blank that the coral shows. A what? I need more than that. No. What's he looking at? He's looking at the coral, which formed a what, which shows us every 200 years. The 15.
The detailed lines on the coral.
Which is called the what?
The pattern?
Pattern. Yeah, he's looking at the pattern of the coral. We're not actually reading it like a book. We're reading the pattern the coral is showing us. All right. And does anyone remember how many islands he was able to visit to warn them? How many islands was he able to visit, Gabby? 5 islands. And where are some of the places he spoke to people at on the islands? He didn't just shout it from the rooftop. Where did he speak to some people at, John?
Or like the town square, in schools, at churches.
Yeah, perfect.
Another type of church,
Yeah. Mosques.
Yeah.
So that's just another type of church. So he had this prediction. He knew that there would be an earthquake soon. Did he know that it was going to be as soon as it happened? Did he realize it was going to happen so soon? No. Because it happened how many months after he started warning people? Only blank months later. Number 10. Does that, Mason? Yeah. 14. How many months later?
6 months.
Yeah, 6 months later, the earthquake happened. So did he get a chance to warn as many people as he wanted?
No.
No, of course not, because he wasn't ever able to go back. But his prediction was correct. And remember, we read 3 different sidebars yesterday, and the first sidebar was on page 207, where we read about how the coral actually grows. And then we read a sidebar on 209, where it's what makes the earthquake. And we read specifically why earthquakes happen and what makes earthquakes happen. Number 8. Remind us, what makes earthquakes happen?
Earthquakes happen because of a fault in the earth, where one plate is above another.
Right, and then they meet together, they merge, they bump, they hit each other, and eventually they build up so much pressure, and they go apart, and then that's why the earthquake happens. Can someone remind me what 2 types of plates were meeting at this specific fault line, the Sundance Megahertz fault line? What type of plates are meeting there? Ethan, tell me one type. An oceanic plate. And what's above the oceanic plate, everyone?
Continental.
No, I meant sorry, that is the next type. I meant the oceanic plate. What's above the oceanic plate, everyone? Ocean. Then it was bumping and submerging underneath the continental plate, and continental sounds like continent. So what's on top of a continental plate? Land or continent. So that is why it specifically happened. And does anyone remember what if these plates moved in this certain way, we wouldn't have to worry about earthquakes? Phoebe?
If they move parallel.
Right. If they just move parallel, which means they never cross, they never intersect, we would never have this problem. But since they don't do that, the plates meet, they hit each other, pew! Earthquakes happen. Thank you. And then we read one more sidebar on page. Did we ever read that sidebar?
No.
No ordinary waves? Yeah, we read that. Didn't we?
We read it.
Yeah. Then we read, I know we read that because it was about tsunamis. Then we read the sidebar on 210, which is about no ordinary waves. And it was explaining to us how tsunami waves form. And tsunami waves do not need what to form? Number 18. Is that you? Oh, so earlier, Madeline, you should have answered the question because I got Eliana's number wrong. Because you're 17 and she's 18. So when I asked her a question, I was actually asking you. So what do tsunami waves not need, Madeline? If you don't know, you could look at the sidebar on 210, which is where we learned the information yesterday. What do tsunamis not need? That's different from regular waves. Regular waves need this thing, where tsunami waves do not. It says it in the first sentence of no ordinary waves. Because tsunami waves are not ordinary waves. Ordinary waves need this thing. So we stop messing with your hair. It's not beauty shop. Okay, so what do ordinary waves need? You just said the word, but say it without reading it from the book. Wind. Ordinary waves need wind. Tsunami waves do not need wind because they come up from the thrust or the push from the bottom of the ocean. So there doesn't need to be any waves from or any wind from a tsunami. Does anyone have any current questions about where we're at? All right, then we are going to continue reading on page 211 at the top. Are we ready? Yes, Alex. I guess, really quick. We can go back. We're not running. We're not running. Gabby, take that popcorn home. Yeah, my suit. Right here. 2. Some of my friends that are male, we better be doing the right thing. And females. Zoe, don't be looking in my closet. The continental plate sprang up as much as 20 feet. pushing up the water above it. So, like literally, here's the continental plate, and all of a sudden it pushes up 20 feet. So all the water on top of it has to go up too, which is going to create a giant tsunami. Tsunami waves rippled out in all directions. So they didn't just go forward. They didn't just go to the side. They went like in a circle around it, everywhere. Gaining power as they raced across the open ocean as fast as jet airplanes. The first wave, 100 feet tall in some places, hit the Indonesian island of Sumatra 15 minutes after the earthquake. Waves swamped the coast of Thailand 75 minutes later, then India and Sri Lanka and even Africa, 3,000 miles away from the quake center. So, earthquake was bad enough, right? 2 minutes of terrible shaking, the worst earthquake in 40 years in the world. Terrible shaking for 2 minutes. 15 minutes later, Indonesia was hit with waves 100 feet high. That is literally like, I'm trying to think of a comparison about 100 feet. Shh, it doesn't help when you guess things. 100 feet would be, so a football field has 100 yards and each yard is 3 foot. So from the end zone to the 30-yard line, which is almost to the half line, would be over half a football field is how big a 30 or 100 feet is. Anyways, humongous. And then 75 minutes later in Thailand, so an hour and 15 minutes after this earthquake that they probably did not even feel, now they're getting a tsunami. And then Africa, which is 3,000 miles away from where the earthquake happened, also got tsunami waves. Did they think those were going to be coming? No, they didn't feel the earthquake 3,000 miles away, but they got some effects of it from these tsunami waves. So that is a big cause and effect there, okay? Cause, earthquake, effect, tsunami over 3,000 miles away. That is a very large thing. All right. The deadly waves kept flooding beaches for hours. Hundreds of thousands of people were killed and millions were left homeless. So it's not like once a wave hit, it was done. It wasn't just one giant wave. It was continuous. Giant waves, giant waves, giant waves, giant waves. And people were literally swept into the ocean or killed by the waves themselves, or because things were collapsing. Buildings were falling in on themselves and things like that. And then they were being killed because things were falling on top of them. So, what was more deadly? The hurricane, or not the, sorry, we're not even talking about hurricanes. The earthquake or the tsunamis? Raise your hand if you think the earthquake was more deadly. I want you to put a fist in the air. Deadly means more people died. Or if you think the tsunamis were more deadly, I want your hand in the air. All right, it looks like most of us are voting what I would say would be more deadly, which is the tsunami, because it killed thousands of people and made that many and just as many people homeless, where the earthquake was really, really violently shaking, but it did not kill the thousands that the tsunami did. So technically the tsunami was a little bit more, well, was more deadly. Kerry Sy was at home in California when he heard the news. Immediately, Sy thought of his friends on the islands he visited. Had they escaped the quaking ground and giant waves? Had their homes and villages been destroyed? Communication by phone or email was impossible. On January 1st, he flew back to Indonesia, uncertain of what he'd find. So, remember, he spent all this time in Indonesia trying to, he went to 5 different islands. He had to have met people And the people that he met, he's now thinking of. Did they die? Did they make it? Do they have nothing left? And why do you think phones or emails were impossible to use during this time? This takes some inferencing. Why would it be impossible at this time, Eric?
Because if tsunamis hit it, then that would be water, and it would destroy it, and also the earthquake would make all the power lines fall down.
Right. Between the earthquake and the tsunami, there's probably not power lines left open, and like the poles internet companies set up and give off all the internet. I'm sure there's no power lines or anything set up, and if they are still up, they're definitely not working. So he has no way to call people or even email them. So he's flying back to Indonesia, and he doesn't know what he's going to find. Is he going to find a person alive? Zoe, plug your computer in right there and get yourself a textbook. Okay? We cannot stop every single day because you need to charge your computer. And that's not even what you're supposed to be on, ma'am. So that's interesting. Close your computer and get a textbook. So he went to go back to see what people would find. So the result of the tsunami, earthquake happened, super bad. And then a result of that, or an effect of that, was the tsunami. And then if we made the tsunami the cause, an effect of the tsunami would be beaches were flooded. Thousands of people were killed. Millions of people lost their homes. Phones and all communication was out. They couldn't contact anyone. And who knows how long it made that go into place. So I want you to look at the map above. So this is not necessarily a sidebar, but this is a diagram of a map. And the map here, you can see Tello Island. It's nice and small. And you can see at the very top, there's a black dot that says December 26, 2004, earthquake epicenter. So at that black dot is where the earthquake officially, where the plate lines burst. Okay, that's the official spot. And then you can see, what is the purple line? Number 9. Read that map for me. What is that purple line? Yeah, so the fault line's not just an itty bitty line. It covers all of this space, okay? And there's the Indian Ocean and so on. So, got too much stuff in here apparently, Gabby. So that's where it's happening at. And also, did anyone notice this thing on the map that is going to give us a little preview about what we're going to read on the next page? What else is on this map? Read this map. What other thing did we not read, Miss Isabel?
We did not read about the island.
I can't hear you. No, I'm not talking about the islands. We've talked about those throughout the story. John.
It says March 28, 2005. The second one.
Right. And how? First off, we could have guessed the second one was going to happen because every 200 years, a blank of earthquakes come. A pair. So this map is letting us know that there was another earthquake that we're going to read about probably on our next page. But if you paid attention to this map, you could have made that prediction beforehand. And this one is in March 2005. Can someone do the math on how far away they were apart? How long apart were these two earthquakes? December 2004 to March 2005. Yeah, about 4 months. That's it. Because as soon as December's over, it's 2005, and March is the third month. So literally about 3 months apart. That's it. And 26 to 28, 3 months. That's it. Safe for now is our next section, and it is also, the white is called a what? Number 4. Oh, Zuri's number 4, and she's not on. Number 12. What is that white called? The what type of thing? It's not a title. It's a kind of like a compound word, a little bit. Are you number 12? Do you know? Number 1. What's it called? By the way, all of you have been put back in. We talked about these like 16 times yesterday. Anyone remember? Anyone? Alex.
Is there like a sideboard?
No, it is not a sidebar. Sidebar set across from the entire story, and it's giving us extra information. Ethan!
Subheading?
Subheading! This is giving us more information. Remember, an informational text, it is not written like a narrative. A narrative does not have random titles throughout the thing or random headings. So in informational text, we have subheadings that tell us this is what this is about, this is what this is about, this is what this is about. And this one says safe for now. People in Tela were lucky. Their island was more than 200 miles from the epicenter of the earthquake, the most powerful point. On Tela, during the quake, the earth shook, but not violently. Later, a small tsunami, 3 to 6 feet high, swept through the villages, flooding houses. People were shaken and scared, but unharmed. So the original island that our story started on, Tela Island, those people were for the most part fine. Like they had flooding and stuff, but no one was like dying like in other places. As he traveled to other islands he'd visited in July, Sai was relieved to hear the same story. Few homes had been destroyed and no lives were lost, but danger still lurked. An earthquake on one section of a fault can increase stress along the rest of the fault. And thousands of miles from the Sundun megathrust fault that hadn't ruptured in December was ripe for another quake. So he's saying, or he's reminding everyone that, because this earthquake happened here, we're more likely to have an earthquake over here. Like it's going to happen again. So he's reminding people of that as he's going to visit them. And luckily, the places that he had gone himself and had met people, those places seemed to be okay for the most part. But was every place okay? No, people died. So not every place was as lucky enough as some of his other spots. Sure enough, another quake shook an area to the south on March 28th. This quake was 10 times less powerful than the one in December. Yet, it was still the second biggest quake to rock the world in 40 years. So the first one was the biggest in 40 years. And this second one, which was 10 times less strong, still was the second biggest. So it was still huge compared to other earthquakes in the past 40 years. But it was smaller than the first one. Yes.
So last week it was like a 9.4. Do you know what this one is?
What's a 9.4?
Zoe,
Yeah,
the earthquake, the magnitude of the earthquake. Let me look it up.
What are the last earthquake happened? Google it.
The Great Alaskan Earthquake. We watched an entire video on it. Yeah. Glad you guys pay attention to that.
We love that. Yeah. Isaiah likes that one. You can't stop saying that girl's name.
So, it was a 9.1. So it was basically almost the exact same, whatever it's called, magnitude as the other one, just for the record. Thanks for asking that question. Again, Sai's friends escaped harm. So in case you were curious, the Great Alaskan Earthquake was the one 40 years ago they're talking about. Okay? So, because now we're in 2004, and that one happened in 1964, I think, or 1969. So, regardless, that one 40 years ago is the Great Alaskan Earthquake that they're talking about. Sai's friends escaped harm, but the quakes were proof that what the scientists had said was true. They convinced some islanders to take action. Today, on the islands of Sumuk, many people have left their homes near the shore and have rebuilt their towns in the island's highest point, the hill where Sai erected his GPS station. Their modified town is better prepared for tsunamis. Why would they be better prepared for tsunamis up on a hill? Number 17. Why would it be better for them to build their towns and homes away from the water on a hill? Would be what? Yeah, if they're farther away from water, less likely for a tsunami to hit it. If they're higher up, water can only go so high. So the higher up they are and the further inland, the more safe they'll be from a tsunami. Because if they were right about this happening in 200 years, what is going to happen in 200 years again? Another Another what of earthquakes? Not just another earthquake, another pair of earthquakes will happen again. The quakes also provided Psy with a lot of work to do. On Sumatra, the rising continental plate pushed up vast stretches of beach that had been underwater. We saw thousands of dead coral, Psy said. He looked at the data from the GPS station to find out exactly how the nearby islands moved during the quake. So, remember, just once the quake is over and once the tsunami is over, there's still all the things after it. And part of some beaches had been pushed up, so all the things on top of that water are now dead, which is sad. So, I already asked that question. Rush, I want you to close your computer and I want you to grab a textbook for me, please. So, we have two pictures here, and pictures are what? Fiction or nonfiction? Nonfiction, because they are real. And then there's these white things with the pictures. Those white words are what? Someone remind me what those are called. Anyone remember what those are called? And what they're for? There's white words underneath these pictures. What are they and what are they called? Alicia, give it a try. Captions. And what's the point of a caption? Why are they there? Malik?
To tell you what a word means or something.
Not for the picture. What?
One time he did it too.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Alex is playing games.
Okay, well then, Alex, you close your computer and please get a textbook too.
You were not even exercise.
Now that he doesn't even have any cool my
Did it one day.
Okay, well, we're talking about right now. I'm worried about right now, okay? And right now, you just were not doing the right thing, okay? Right now, Alex is doing the right thing, so he's going to be able to keep his computer open, okay? So, what's the point of a caption with a picture, Phoebe?
To explain what's going on in the picture.
Right, because if I just saw that picture without the caption, I have no idea what that is. I could make an assumption, but I don't know for sure. But the caption tells us exactly what is happening. Eric, can you please read that caption for us?
Is it the modified?
No, we're talking about captions and pictures.
Destruction after the 2004 earthquake and tsunami in Indonesia.
Yep, so that's just a photo. That looks pretty rough to me, don't you think? Like, there's like trees inside that house. Like, how do we even begin to clean that up? And then there's a picture on the other side. What?
What?
I didn't hear what you said.
Nothing.
And this has the exact same caption, destruction after a 2004 earthquake and tsunami in Indonesia. So this is just another picture with the same caption. So once again, how would you even begin to clean this up? It is literally wood and stuff everywhere. That would be extremely hard to clean up. It would all people's stuffers in there. It just looks crazy. Please turn the page.
I'm surprised that the metal tops, like on the roofs, are still on there.
So those things that are metal, if we go back to that picture, those are extremely high up. So those probably weren't touched by water. The buildings that they're on, the inside of them are probably flooded. But tops like those are probably things like churches or mosques, which means they might be built a little bit better than just a person's house, which could be why that those are still standing maybe. Malik?
For the picture before this, the second pair of the earthquake, since it said March 2005, for the Great Alaskan earthquake, it happened 2 days after.
It did, yeah, because the Great Alaskan earthquake happened March 27th. So 1 day after, because it's happened on the 28th. Because the 27th, that was my birthday. All right, I need you on the last page, and I need my girls over here listening and stop messing with their hair. I wasn't talking to you. As they traveled the islands by boat and helicopter, Sai and his colleagues explained why earthquakes and tsunamis happen and what people can do to prepare. They can build their houses out of lightweight wood or bamboo rather than heavy concrete, which would cause more damage if it toppled during an earthquake. They can move their villages away from the beach or build pathways to higher ground. So we already talked about that, why people move inland. But they could also change the materials their homes are built out of. Because if a bamboo structure falls on you, you might not die. But if a concrete structure falls on you, you're probably going to die, right? It's going to be too heavy, and the collapsing of your home or building is going to hurt you. So those are just, Zoe, I need you to go back to your desk because you are not doing the right thing and you're distracting me and making me stop. Yes, you are. Please go back to your desk. So, anyways, those are just two different things people could do to better prepare themselves for the tsunamis and stuff. Sai doesn't know exactly when or where it will hit, but he's certain another quake is coming along the section of the fault line south of Tello. Until it does, he'll try to understand as much as he can about why and how the Earth moves, and he'll teach the people who live nearby about the dangers that lurk under the waves. So even this entire story was about an earthquake. We learned a lot about tsunamis because the tsunamis were the real killers in these situations and caused more damage than the earthquakes themselves. So there are two more pictures here, and both of these pictures also have a caption. The one caption says, "Students cover their heads during earthquake drills in Indonesia." Do we have to have earthquake drills here? No, but we have fire drills and tornado drills and stuff. So just like in a tornado drill, would we have to cover our head with our hands? Same for them. In an earthquake, they're covering their heads with books. That way, if something falls, hopefully it's protecting their head. So just like we practice drills on the other side of the world, they also have to practice drills. Malik?
Why workers use hard hats.
Yeah, that's another, like, if you ever see workers on construction sites, they have hard hats, and that's to protect their head. It's a barrier between their head and the thing falling, and to hopes, we don't want a concussion and things like that. And then there's another book here, or there's another picture and caption that says, "An official talks to students during an earthquake and tsunami drill in Indonesia." So this person is probably explaining to them what might happen, what could happen, why we need to be safe. Just like here, just like we have drills, they also have drills. So there was a lot of cause and effect in this story because some things cause other things. So, Mr. Sai, is he done working now? The 2 earthquakes happened. Is he over it? He's like, "Oh, yep, did my job. The earthquakes happened. I predicted them." No, he's not done. He's going to continue trying to learn as much about the way Earth moves as possible. That way he can help other people. Because just because the pattern has been every 200 years, does that mean it can only happen every 200 years? No, patterns sometimes get disrupted, right? So something could happen in between. And just a reminder, is there any way to actually predict what date, time, and year an earthquake's going to happen? No, we can predict the time frame, but we cannot predict an actual date. Where, someone tell me a natural disaster that we can predict. John? Hurricane. Because we have satellite technology that can literally see how fast the hurricane is spinning and when it is going to hit land. Same with blizzards. We can normally predict when there's going to be a big blizzard coming because we still have satellite. We can see, for the most part, when it's going to hit what land. Isaiah? Tornadoes we cannot always predict. We can predict that one might be coming, but we do not know when exactly a funnel cloud might decide to form. So a tornado is one that we cannot officially predict. We can predict a storm that a tornado could be in, but we do not know exactly when that tornado is going to drop. So, dun 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 dun. Someone remind me. Go back to page 209, everyone, because I'm going to be drawing sticks. We already know what causes an earthquake. When different plates bump together, they cause pressure and explode. But why is it impossible for us to feel the plates moving underneath us? Like right now, where we're standing, the plates are moving technically, but why can't we feel that? I'm drawing a stick. Oops. I'm drawing a stick. Why can't we just feel that happening? 6. Sorry. You've already answered a lot, but lucky you. Plates are always moving, but why can't we feel them moving underneath us?
Because of how far we are from them?
We are very far from them, and what's the other thing? 14?
Because they're moving really slow.
Right. Remember, the Earth's plates and stuff move like in less than an inch a year, and we would never. They move so smaller than my fingers smashed together a day. We can't move how slow they're growing because they grow or they move like as slow as your fingernails grow was the comparison. So we can't feel the plates moving underneath us because they move so very slowly, only a few centimeters a year. Does anyone remember that special name that is the Earth's surface, what that was called, that they compared to an apple? Because we'd like to think the Earth is very thin, or that Earth is really thick, what we're standing on. Remember the hard, solid rock? But really, it's super thin to where the plates and the molten lava are. Does anyone remember what that's called? Gabby? The litmus sphere, and that's what we're standing on. All right, and someone remind me again, what's the difference between a tsunami wave and a normal ocean wave? I need to know. 12. Is that you? What's the difference between a normal wave and a... Eric? We're not napping, sir.
The difference between
Okay, that's why I know you're not paying attention, sir. I just called on Claire. I was just waking you up. But thanks for trying to answer. A tsunami wave does not need something that a normal wave needs.
Does it need wind in a normal wave?
Right. Normal waves happen because of wind. Tsunami wave gets the water pushed up from the floor underneath. All right. What questions do we currently have? Malik? Yeah. All right, I need everyone's eyeballs on me. We are just about out of time for today. So tomorrow, during reading class, we're going to do some review, then your comprehension 5-question quiz, and your vocab quiz will be tomorrow at the end of reading. But we're going to start out the beginning of the reading doing more review and stuff, okay? Are there any questions? If not, you may put my books back or close your Chromebooks and you may head back to your desks.